Well, fans, in this strange and surreal season of NCAA basketball, we have come to expect one thing, the unexpected. Today's game was originally scheduled to be the first game of the second half of the Saints' shortened season. Instead, all of a sudden, this game is the halfway point. How's that happen, you ask? I promise that we'll explain what we mean coming up in just a few moments. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to game number 2 of this 2-day homestand of St. Martin's men's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, I'm Jeff Lucero, happy to be with you for the 4th live broadcast of an abbreviated 2021 Saints basketball season from Marcus Pavilion today. Just as they did last night, the Saints welcome a familiar opponent from one state over and one time zone away to the Twin Star Court today, the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks. We'd, of course, like to welcome in any Nighthawks fans tuning in this afternoon. As always, it is great to have you along for the broadcast as well. We'll talk matchup shortly, but first, we got to chat about last night's game. These two teams got after it last night, and what a fun game it was to watch. It stayed relatively tight throughout much of the first half, but with just under 2 minutes remaining, the Nighthawks went on an absolutely blistering tear. They ripped off an improbable 14-2 run. Think about that. 14 points in less than 2 minutes to take a 48-30 lead into the break. It was George Reedy for the Nighthawks, who was really feeling it in that first half, knocking down a diabolical 27-foot three-pointer as time expired that closed that seemingly back-breaking run. But then the second half began, and my goodness gracious, did last night's game ever turn around in a hurry? The Saints came out like prize fighters in the second frame, immediately ripping off a 9-0 run to get things going. In fact, over the first 11 minutes of the second half, the Saints outscored the Nighthawks 29-8, eventually regaining their first leads and scoring the game's first 4 points. But the Nighthawks found their footing from there, and they remained composed down the stretch. That is just what they do. Despite being held to those mere 8 points in the second half's first 11 minutes, they poured it on late, scoring 34 points in the final 9 minutes to close out the Saints by a final score of 90-80. But let's go back to those first 11 minutes of the second half. The Saints, let's face it, they had just been smacked plumb in the mouth heading into halftime. A lot of teams would never have recovered from that kind of demoralizing finish to a half, but pretty much the very moment the second half got underway, it was the Saints laying down some demoralization of their own. So, how did the Saints do it? Well, first things first, credit Saints head coach Aaron Landon. He laid into these dudes. He let them have it. I don't know what he said at halftime, but whatever it was, it came through loud and clear. Second, they played ferocious, unrelenting defense. Anytime you hold an opponent to 8 points in any 11-minute stretch, you have flat out locked them down. In fact, the Saints held them scoreless for the first 5 minutes of the second half. Third and final thing, the combination of Alex Schumacher and Tyke Thompson. Those two combined for 25 of those 29 points during the Saints' dominant run, 16 of those alone from Schumacher. In fact, he was held scoreless in the first half, but wound up scoring a staggering 29 in the second, establishing a new career high along the way. Austin, in 4 years of calling Saints basketball games, I've seen plenty of stretches of brilliant basketball from this program, but honestly, really and truly, I'm not sure I've seen another one, given the circumstances and all things considered, as good as the one that we saw right here on the floor last night.
Absolutely, Jeff. Last night there was flashes of those teams that were reached to the Sweet 16 of the Division II tournament, and I mean, Schumacher,
Pribble ball.
Oh, exactly. And what stood out to me was Schumacher looked like he was just untouchable. And we've seen that before in this gym with All-American guards like Luke Chavez, E.J. Boyce. You know, those kind of guys could take over games. That's what Schumacher did last night. Wherever he wanted to shoot, he was going to shoot, and it was going in. And so for me, though, the biggest point was the defense. You allow 14 points in 2 minutes. Nothing is working for you at that point on the defensive end. They come out in the second half, don't allow a field goal, like you said, for over 7 minutes against a very good offensive team with one of the best offensive players in Zeke Alley. and you can pull that off. That's not an easy thing to do. So the Saints did a great job regrouping that defense, which led to that offense getting out in transition and being able to make the adjustments they needed. So for me personally, I think the Saints played a great game last night. I think they've played a great game in 4 of their 5 matches. Just exclude the Seattle U one because, look, you only had about 2 days to practice going into that game. So we'll exclude that one. But Saints have really done well against top-of-the-line competition. They just need that return on investment. They need a W on the board, and so the players can see these efforts paying off.
We will take our first break here on the Saints men's basketball pregame show, and when we return, we have some late breaking news about the Saints schedule to tell you about. Yesterday's game, like I said, was once the halfway point of this truncated season, but guess what? It is not anymore. We'll fill you in on the details when we return. You're dialed in to the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
And welcome back in for the Saints men's basketball pregame show. And as we teased you with before the break, we've got some breaking news to share with you. One thing we've tried to be sure to do our best on our broadcast is to emphasize that the Saints schedule is fluid. It is flexible. It's a living document, shall we say. And Austin, that schedule was just officially augmented this morning. Another GNAC program has jumped in the fray. Let's have you do the honors. Austin, tell us who it is and when the Saints can expect to see them.
Yeah, the Saints added 2 more games at the end of their schedule. February 26th, they'll be going on the road to Ellensburg to face the Wildcats of Central Washington.
All right.
And then they'll be welcoming in the Wildcats on Saturday the 27th, 6 o'clock tip-off following night. Yep. And so, huge to be able to get another team into the mix. Northwest Nazarene and Seattle Pacific are good squads.
Absolutely.
Now it's nice to get, a Central Washington, another opponent into the mix because playing a school 4 times in a season has a toll on you. So it's nice to get some, extra blood into the schedule. And so Central Washington, February 26th on the road, 27th at home, 6 o'clock tip-off.
Yeah, welcome back to GNAC basketball, Central Washington. It will be great to have you guys back on the court. And I believe their women's team, is their women's team also scheduling games?
Yes, women as well.
All right. So that's hot off the presses, folks. Those games officially added to the St. Martin schedule here just this morning. We will see Central Washington in a home-and-home, basically, on February 26th and 27th. First night over in Ellensburg, second night on Saturday here inside Marcus Pavilion. And how great is it to see another school like stepping up and making sure they're clearing all the appropriate protocols. They're doing all the hard work behind the scenes that a lot of folks just aren't aware of in order to get their program back on track and able to field some games. It's got to be so good, not just for the university, but for the GNAC itself.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, if you take a look at the 3 schools that are playing, they're private schools, Seattle Pacific, St. Martin's, and Northwest Nazarene. Now it's good to see the public schools being able to slowly get back into the mix as well with the Central Washington. And again, like you said, there's a lot of hoops they have to jump through. But I'm just glad this isn't going to be our final men's home game of the year.
Yeah.
That was the realistic possibility.
Yeah.
And so now at least we get another one at the end of February. So we'll get to see the Saints one more time.
We will take another quick break. When we return, we'll talk about some of the key performances for the Saints' opponent last night. And, of course, once again here today, the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks. Keep it here. You're watching the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
And welcome back to the Saints men's basketball pregame show. And it's time for a look back at some of the high points from last night's game for today's opponent for the Saints. A quick glance at the stat sheet, and one name really jumps off the page. That name is George Reedy. He was an absolute beast for Northwest Nazarene last night. A team-high 23 points to go along with 8 rebounds and 3 assists as well in 33 minutes on the court. And, oh, don't forget, he hit the buzzer-beating 3 that closed the 14-2 run to end the first half. But it wasn't entirely what he did. It's how he did it. Dude just put on a show in the paint, consistently beating the Saints to the rack with a dazzling array of spin moves and lefty finishes off the glass. The Saints are going to have to find a way to slow him down and keep him out of the lane today. Nighthawks leading scorer Zeke Alley wound up with 14 points on the night, good for a second on the team behind Reedy. But I'll tell you what, the Saints actually locked him down pretty much the entire game. He only had 5 points through the game's first 34 minutes and scored 6 of those 14 points in the final 45 seconds. So you know he's going to want to catch fire early in today's contest, and he will look to keep it rolling all afternoon. He's just way too good a player to keep bottled up the way the Saints were able to do last night. One final thing, the Nighthawks hauled down 42 rebounds yesterday. The Saints just 26. When I spoke to Saints assistant coach Thomas Roswell before last night's game, he told me one of the big keys for the Saints was to keep them off the boards, but that clearly didn't go as planned. So Austin, the Saints obviously have to do a better job rebounding the basketball, but they also need to do their very best, do their darndest to keep Zeke Alley bottled up today if they want to get out of here with a split.
Alley is one of the best scorers you're going to see all year in this league. And Saints did a great job with him last night, but like you said, I think a term you used was kind of a whack-a-mole. You knock down one and 2, 3 more of them pop up, and that's what Northwest Nazarene did, and that's what good teams do. They find ways to beat you if you take away option A. And so for me, it was really Reedy and Nelson. Those were the 2 guys who stepped up the most. If I recall correctly, if you're big into the analytics like I am, the only player who did more efficiency than Reedy was Schumacher. And that's because obviously of his explosive 29 points. But Reedy was the best player out there on the floor for the Nighthawks last night, no doubt about it. And for them, you know, Terashima didn't have his prototypical game. I expect to see him bounce back.
Still had 8 assists last night.
And still had 8 assists.
Oh,
I mean, and that's saying something. I mean, the kid is a good ball player for sure. And so, you know, Northwest Nazarene, I think they're going to want to get Alley going right away, though. I don't think you're going to want to try and hedge your bets on Reedy and Nelson having to carry the load again for a second straight night. You know, I think they're going to want to try and get the ball back in the hands of Alley quickly and let him try and take over the game in the early bits of the first half.
And a really important thing to remember about this Northwest Nazarene team, and we mentioned it at the outset of last night's broadcast, it bears worth repeating. These dudes are just closers. They finish what they start. They're 71 for a reason, folks. This team knows how to get it done when the game is on the line, when it matters most. In crunch time, this Northwest Nazarene team has gotten it done time and again throughout this very interesting, unique season of GNAC basketball. We'll take our final break here on the pregame show. When we return, we'll set the stage with some starting lineups and a few more last-second thoughts. Tip-off on the other side of this break. This has been the St. Martin's Men's Basketball pregame show on the GNAC Digital Network.
NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
And welcome back in. We are just a couple of moments away now from tip-off. Game number 2 of this 2-game homestand between St. Martin's and Northwest Nazarene. By the way, as I'm sure a lot of you dialing in from wherever you are aware, this is a home-and-home for the women's side of the program as well. We've got a halftime score to update you with. Northwest Nazarene with a big early advantage. At the halftime break, they lead St. Martin's over in Nampa by a score of 43-29. Let's quickly bring you some starting lineups. And while they have not showed up yet on live stats, I'm just going to assume that we're going to see the same starting 5 for either side. So let's just quickly run you through it. First for Northwest Nazarene. Backcourt today, number 1, Kobe Terashima, the 6'2 junior from Meridian, Idaho. Joined back there by number 11, Zeke Alley. Already a 2-time GNAC Player of the Week. The 6' senior hails from Tucson, Arizona. Also in the backcourt, number 12, Sam Roth. He's a 6'3 redshirt senior from Salem, Oregon. The final guard back there, number 15, George Reedy, a 6'5 redshirt sophomore from Edmonds. Up front for the Nighthawks, number 32, Gabe Murphy, a 6'9 redshirt sophomore from Tracy, California. And for the Saints, we're just going to assume they're going to roll out the same starting 5. Number 0, Alex Schumacher, a 6'3 sophomore from Vancouver, coming off an absolutely preposterous performance in the second half of last night's game. No points in the first half, 29 coming in the second half. That's a new career high for him. Joining the backcourt by number 1, Tyke Thompson, the 6'7 redshirt sophomore from Salem, Oregon. Also in the backcourt, number 22, John Moore, the 6'2 junior from Tacoma. Up front for the Saints, number 13, Goy Wang, a 6'5 junior from Aurora, Colorado. And, of course, the big man, number 32, Marky Adams, the 6'9 senior from Forks. Austin, one of the things that you told me yesterday in the postgame show, you really wanted to see the Saints try to work the offense through the post a little bit more. Is that what you expect to see here this afternoon?
Yeah, I think you're going to see St. Martin's try and get the ball down low. It doesn't necessarily have to go straight in the hands of Adams. It can go into like Tyke Thompson or John Moore. Just try and get the ball down low to work back outside. And for Northwest Nazarene, it's on number 11, Alley.
Yep.
Let's see how fast does he get into the scoring ledger. I'm going to go ahead and place a bet. It's going to be 2 minutes or less, Jeff. I really do.
Well, this looks quite familiar. The Saints once again in the home whites. Northwest Nazarene in the road reds. Unlike yesterday's game, the Saints control the opening tip. We are underway inside Marcus Pavilion. Wang on the drive. Gets all the way to the rack, lays it up and in. Quick, explosive first step from Goy Wang. And the Saints are on the board in the game's opening moments.
I wasn't expecting Goy Wang to be the first call in the offensive set, but a nice play dial by Aaron Landon.
Saints come out in their zone defense. Corner 3 on the way. Didn't take long at all. Zeke Elliott, it only took him 25 seconds, Austin. You were way off.
Man, he's just a good ball player, and they got to the corner 3. It's a shot that a lot of defenses have been able to get off against the Saints.
It's Alley in transition. Running out with him is George Reedy, last night's hero for the Nighthawks. His layup won't go, but he's fouled. So a quick pace to start this game. Reedy heads to the line, fouled by John Moore.
Yeah, something that happened last week, Jeff, in the games against Seattle Pacific was the Saints and the Falcons jumped out in that first game to a barn burner offensively. In the second game, as it went on and on, the legs got more and more tired. You know, so we'll see after last night, 90-80 offensive affair. Will this game be a little bit more slowed down, kind of down into the 70s, 60s range? I would expect to see that.
Reedy unable to connect on either free throw. Thompson taps the rebound to himself. Schumacher steers it the other way for the Saints. Thompson now on the drive, guarded by Roth. Now it's Moore. Kicks. Wang at the top of the key. Loses control. Ball rolls into the hands of Thompson. 14 on the shot clock. Thompson resets up top to Schumacher, who goes to work between the circles. Adams comes up to set the high screen. Schumacher has it ripped away by Zeke Alley. And Schumacher commits the foul.
Yeah, Alley's been locked in defensively here to start, not just offensively. He's really flying around on the defensive end and creating a lot of pressure out on that perimeter. Saints can't get even a look inside yet.
Well, we mentioned it, and I personally expect to see a huge game out of Alley after he was largely a non-factor in last night's game. He did finish with those 14 points, a respectable number, no doubt. But keep in mind, 6 of those came when the game was very much already decided in the game's last 45 seconds. Another corner 3, this one for Reedy. Unable to connect on either free throw a moment ago. Now he knocks down a wide open corner 3, and it's an early 6-2 lead for the Nighthawks.
Just 2 open shots right in the same part of the court. Let's see if Aaron Landon and his zone adjust to try and take away that corner 3 early.
Another Saints player attacks the rack. This time it's John Moore. Looked for all the world like he was in the act of shooting, but they'll just call it ball out of bounds. Maybe Moore handed off the pass there at the last moment, but he was on the drive on his way to the rack. Instead, here's Thompson. Now kicks to Moore. He'll try for 3 here on the near side. That one bounces around and falls. Thought it was going to pop out, actually, but it stayed in the cylinder and fell through. 6-5 Nighthawks. About 2 minutes gone by. Top of the key, it's Reedy. Now Roth handles. Top of the zone, here comes Wang to get him. Reverse it back into the hands of Terashima. Roth looks into the high post, finds Reedy. Faces up on Adams, spins, now kicks back to Roth, 10 on the shot clock. Terashima calls out the play. Reedy comes to get it. Drives on Adams. He had a lot of success doing it yesterday, and he does it yet again. That time just a tough, head full of steam type drive. Puts the ball on the deck, gets to the rack, lays it in, 8-5 Nighthawks.
Yeah, difference on that offensive possession was Reedy, instead of staying in the corner, went to the middle of the post. That forced Adams to cover him, and then when he was able to get outside, he could take that driving attack at Marky Adams.
Wang tries his second 3 here in the early stages. Something we haven't seen from him so far very much this season, but already 2 attempts from deep for Boy Wang. He's called his own number a few times already. I love the aggression. Great to see him try to get into the flow of the offense.
Yeah, he had a couple good shots over at Portland State on Tuesday night. I think he's starting to, figure his spot into the offensive zone and where his shots need to be coming from.
Here he is guarding Roth. He's so long at the defensive end, too. He's listed at 6'5". He might be one of those rare guys who's actually taller than he's listed at. Sometimes you know that whatever a guy is listed at, there might be a little bit of hedging on the plus side of things. I really feel like Boy Wang looks like he's much taller. He's certainly a lot longer than that 6'5" frame would indicate.
Yeah, he's got a great wingspan, and that's what you need in a zone defense. Cover a lot of space, and that's why you see him play at the top of that zone a lot. Him and John Moore will do that.
Turnover gives it back to the Saints. 15 on the shot clock. Adams once again comes out to set the high screen. Schumacher drifts to his left, now finds Thompson. Spots up for 3. That shot, kind of a line drive, no good. Roth the rebound. Here comes Terashima the other way. Hesitates for a moment, now kicks to Reedy in the corner. For the moment anyway, Nazarene content to reverse it back around the perimeter. Now they set up alley for a 3. Battle beneath the rim for the rebound. Marky Adams hits the deck hard. He's not getting up just yet. Marky Adams currently clutching at his left calf. Let's hope he's okay. Well, a stoppage in play, we'll take it with him. 8-5, Northwest Nazarene, 3-point lead on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
So the good news for Saints fans, Marky Adams able to get up under his own power. Bad news, he was limping off pretty considerably. He's being tended to. Ty Velasquez takes his place on the floor for St. Martin's. Reedy on the drive. Bodies up, gets right into the chest of Tyke Thompson. And once again, George Reedy just unstoppable around the basket. Here's Velasquez fresh in the game. Loses it out of bounds, but had it poked away by Brandon Recheck, who's fresh on the deck for Northwest Nazarene.
I just love how Reedy plays. Just head down, I'm going to the rim, and you can't stop me.
Yep.
And he knew he doesn't have Marky Adams down low, and so he just has. If he can get around Tyke Thompson, it's going to be an open layup for him.
Moore hands it off for Thompson. 12 on the shot clock. Steps back for 3, fires away, got it. Tyke Thompson.
Kind of that QB option almost of the the handoff, you have to read, is the defensive switch going to happen? It didn't, and he just steps back. Easy three.
Recheck for three right in front of Saints head coach Aaron Landon, and he knocks it down. So the Nighthawks with the answer. Little hesitation move from Schumacher. He'll pull up. Little transition three, misses everything. Rolls out of bounds. That will bring us to another stoppage in play. 15:24 gone by. It's the Nighthawks with a 5-point lead on the St. Martin's Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Hey fans, don't forget, if you are tuning in this afternoon, you can check out some of the new features that we have on our broadcast in this newfangled YouTube channel that we have. Namely that chat feature, which allows us to interact with you throughout the game. So don't be shy. We've been doing our best to keep up with your comments in the chat. We will address them as best we can for the duration of this afternoon's ball game. But cut us a little bit of slack, though. We're still kind of catching up to all this stuff. We're as new to this as you guys are, so bear with us a little as we sort of muddle through and get the hang of it. I got to tell you, Austin, I'm really, really impressed with this Northwest Nazarene team. They just have a knack for winning games. They're 7-1 on the season. They lost two key pieces. Remember, Jaden Bezant was an absolute dead-eye shooter for them for 4 years. They also lost Spider Adetunji off of last year's team. You might recall that last year's GNAC rebounding title came down to the season finale between these two teams, and it was Adetunji just by a hair out of his nose winning the rebounding title over Marky Adams.
Yeah, they lost a lot of good pieces, but they reload. And this is not a rebuilding year for them by any means. They are right there. It's something that I was kind of talking with earlier in the game yesterday was I think this is one of the best teams in the GNAC, probably the second best team in my opinion. Their offensive squad, it's really hard to stop them. Their defense isn't 100% like a Seattle Pacific, but it's still a very good offensive team. And I think they would be right there at the top if this was a normal year.
A lot of fresh bodies on the deck. We'll try to square that away for you here in a moment. Here's a transition three out of the hands of John Moore. It rims out. Rebound hauled down by Jalen Fox. True Allen hands it off for recheck. Down low it comes to Alley, able to whistle a pass out over the top. And the Nighthawks work the ball around in the perimeter. Three ball from the corner on the way and good. Jalen Fox knocks this one down.
Yeah, that was just Seth Coddington there cheated. He came over too far. He left the Saints were playing a man-to-man. He came over into the paint, left a wide open three.
So Jalen Fox, True Allen, who I don't believe played in yesterday's game, and James Nelson now out there for the Nighthawks. The aforementioned Seth Coddington, and now DeMonte Malloy checking in for the Saints. Velasquez handles here. Quiet night for him. He'd been on a tear coming into last night's game.
Yeah, he did a lot of great things at Portland State. Northwest Nazarene did a good job just like that, making sure he can't get in the position he wants. And now the Saints with just 5 on the clock. This is where, they've kind of struggled, and it's not a great inbounding spot either, over all the way in the corner.
Velasquez bounces a pass in to Tyke Thompson. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Thompson pump fakes. Gets a defender to fly past him. Shot misses everything, and here come the Nighthawks in transition once again. Good success running the floor so far. Recheck bottled up. Double team collapses on him. He tries to muscle up a shot between them. Gets it swatted away, but it winds up in the hands of James Nelson. He cleans things up. And already a double-digit advantage for Northwest Nazarene.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time on that one.
Just sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Although, make no mistake, James Nelson is very, very good. Thompson from 16 along the baseline. A little mid-range game on display. That brings the lead back within single digits, 18-10. Saints really need to stay connected to this squad as much as possible here in the first half. Do not want to dig themselves into the kind of hole they found themselves at the halftime break yesterday. Another strong offensive rebound for James Nelson. Back-to-back buckets for the microwave off the bench for the Nighthawks.
Yeah, just another great look for him. No one checked him. He came right up to the backboard. Easy layup.
Speaking of great looks, Seth Coddington spins into the paint, lays it up and in. 20-12 Northwest Nazarene. Whistle blows, and Malloy going to be called for the hold. Schumacher will return for St. Martin's. Checking in for the Nighthawks are Drew Farron. And returning is George Reedy. It will be Reedy to trigger the inbound here right in front of us on the near side. Moore backs off. True Allen jumps out to get it. Hawked by Velasquez. Along the baseline, it's Jalen Fox. Kicks to the corner. Check. Bodied up by Schumacher. Another three from the far side. That one rattles out. Malloy gobbles up the rebound and steers it the other way for the Saints. Hesitates now, accelerates toward the rack, hands it off for Coddington. His three on the way is good. Seth Coddington knocks down the three ball. And the Saints close the gap, 20-15, 12:22 to play.
It's just what Seth Coddington does. The moment he comes off the bench, he's ready to go. And now steal for John Moore, and here he goes.
What anticipation for John Moore. Steps between two Nighthawks players, knew the pass was coming, knocks it into backcourt, takes it out on the run out, packs it with two hands. Nice little run for St. Martin's. Jalen Fox handles. Hands it off to Reedy, Malloy on him. Another near steal, this time for Velasquez. He knocks it out of bounds. And it will be Nighthawks basketball from that spot on the floor in front of the scores table once we return. The Saints resting some of the momentum back into their clutches. 20-17 our score, 11:55 to play in the first.
NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Well, just when it looked like Northwest Nazarene was establishing firm control of this game, it's the Saints who have gone on a 7-0 run over the last few possessions. Climb and claw their way right back into this thing. Balanced scoring attack so far for St. Martin's. 5 points apiece for Seth Coddington, John Moore, and Ty Thompson. For Northwest Nazarene, 7 points for George Reedy, picking up right where he left off. And already, Northwest Nazarene in this game shooting 61% to get things going. So both teams now got it flowing a little bit more. Good pace to this game so far. Well played at both ends.
Yeah, both teams don't look tired at all after last night's game. We'll see how that, again, first 10 minutes was the rim. We'll get a block for that one.
Yeah, True Allen sort of rim checks himself there.
But again,
he should be the freshest guy on the floor because I'm pretty sure he was a DMP CD last night.
Yeah, and so, for me, I think this is where you're going to start seeing more and more coaches in the second game of a doubleheader. You're going to start dipping into that bench because you need guys, fresh. You're only going to be able to play 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes max in a game. And so that's why you're starting to see a little bit more tapping into that bench for Paul Rush and company.
Well, that was a tough foul call, and that's already the 5th on the Saints. Just one so far here on Northwest Nazarene. Ty Thompson back on the floor for the Saints. This is Jalen Fox guarded by Seth Coddington. You may have noticed, fans, we're seeing a lot more man-to-man defense so far in this game from St. Martin's. They came out in that tried-and-true zone they employ. Reedy travels with the basketball. The shot clock expires anyway. So a double turnover. Let's call it 2 turnovers right there on Northwest Nazarene. But the bottom line is that was a fantastic defensive stand from the Saints, their stoutest defensive performance of this game so far.
Absolutely. We saw Northwest Nazarene drop a lot of great looks out of timeouts last night. This night, Aaron Landon able to come up with a good defensive play call. And now, if bucket here, all of a sudden that momentum that Northwest Nazarene was building up in the early parts of the game, about gone.
Coddington down low, posts up, now turns on his defender. Shot partially bothered, if not deflected. Winds up in the hands of Nelson and back to Terashima. Kicks to the corner, gets it back, pops. Now kicks to Nelson, his three on the way. That one good.
That's just great ball movement.
Yep.
Wrapped it all the way around, not looking for a good shot, looking for a great shot.
We talked about how good James Nelson is off the bench. Remember, this is a guy who averages about 10 points a game and about 15 minutes a game. He is a true microwave off the bench for head coach Paul Rush. Coddington spins, has some space for a moment, instead defers to Malloy. 10 on the shot clock as Coddington will reset the scene. 5 on the shot clock. Got to go. Pulls up for 3. Looks short, and it is. Malloy, the offensive rebound, able to put it back. Shot clock went off, but that did, in fact, graze the iron. No doubt about it. So the referees do let that play on. They knew that was not an air ball. The shot clock should have reset. Here's Terashima on the drive. Just sort of takes the scenic route. Gets all the way to the rack, lays it up and in. 25-19 our score. Wang in transition. Lets the defender fly past him. Lays it off the glass, up and in. Good
I love
transition leak out from the Saints.
I love when the Saints play in transition. They got so many athletic guards on the floor. I think you have to play more of that style, but it comes down to you got to get stops on the defensive end.
Terashima with a kick out. Now back to Nelson. He'll try a 3 from this side,
Wow.
and it's good. Man, oh man, James Nelson is an impressive basketball player. I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be able to keep him out of the starting lineup if he keeps scoring at this pace. Again, almost 10 points per game and about 15 minutes a game coming in.
You know, there's some players that they want to see the game unfold a little bit before they come in, but, you know, this guy's a starter on just every other team in the GNAC. He's that good.
Tough mid-range jumper from Tyke Thompson with not one but 2 defenders right in his cheese. Able to get it off, and it rolls home. Back and forth we go. 5-point game. Scoring really starting to tick up. Fox for 3. That one off the back iron. Long rebound. Battled for. Flying into, well, not the crowd, but the stands anyway. Let's hope that Drew Farron's all right. Head coach Aaron Landon of the Saints comes over to look at him. Well, he is a little bit hobbled getting up. He definitely fell fairly hard on those stairs over there. Heck of an effort for Drew Farron. Let's hope he's going to be okay. He will check out.
Yeah, kid giving it his all. You hate to see that.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough spot over there, too. There's a handrail right in there, too. Those stairs are kind of awkward. They're longer stairs.
And usually you have the team benches in there,
Yeah.
but now, you know, with COVID.
And there'd be somebody there to catch him normally as well. Like, oh, hey, let's not let this dude just smash himself against the bleachers.
But he seems to be walking now back towards his seat, so just a little shaken up. But good to see he's okay.
Moore steps into the passing lane again, strips it away a second time, gets all the way to the rack, raises once again with 2 hands, and throws it down. John Moore, such anticipation, one of the smartest players in this conference, to be sure. Man, oh man, 2 just spectacular defensive plays so far here in the first half.
What I love about John Moore is he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands constantly. He doesn't need to be a superstar. He just makes plays for you.
3 on the way, no good. Rebound trickles off on the weak side to Coddington. Saints can draw closer. Coddington, a little Euro step is fouled. It's a foul on the floor. That is the second foul.
And John Moore he doesn't quit, and there he is, another highlight dunk for him. You know, we're going to have to start putting together the John Moore highlight dunk.
Do we just say stuff at this exact same time? We did.
Great minds think alike.
Or ridiculous minds. Wang able to corral it before it crosses the timeline. Schumacher comes out to get it. And the Saints will run their stuff. Velasquez hawked by Zeke Alley. 10 on the shot clock as Velasquez goes to work. Drifts to his right. Right side wing, got to get a shot off. Moore will try her a long 3. about a foot short. Clangs off the rim, and back comes Northwest Nazarene. In transition, Terashima, you could hear the slap through the headset. Velasquez got him on his way to the rack. That will bring us to a stoppage in play. So it will be Kobe Terashima at the line for a pair of foul shots once we return. Don't look now, though. Saints getting right back into this thing. It's just a 3-point lead for the Nighthawks here on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Well, if you are a true fan of either of these two basketball programs, both men's and women's, you probably got both a laptop and a tablet going. So some of you will know this, some of you might not. But over in Nampa right now, we've got an update from the women's game. And, well, it's advantage Nighthawks there as well, but by a much bigger advantage. 60-39 our score, getting deep into the second half. So while Christy Martin and the Saints women's basketball program earned their first victory against Northwest Nazarene in her time here at St. Martin's, looking like it's going to go the other way in today's matchup. Here on the men's side of things, Nazarene continues to shoot the ball very, very well. 58%, 11 for 19 from the floor, and 55% from three, 6 of 11. As we return to action, Terashima steps to the line for the first of two free throws. The first one rolls around and bounds out.
Well, we talked about in the pregame show there, Jeff, that Ali, I expected him to quickly get off to a start, and he did. He hit that first shot in first possession, but then after that, he hasn't scored yet. And what is happening exactly like last night, it's the key players around him stepping up, and it's really just been Nelson. I mean, 10 points, 4 rebounds, putting on a show in just 7 minutes.
Yeah, perfect 4 for 4 from the floor. Speaking of good-looking shots from the floor, how about Alex Schumacher getting into the mix? He tees up a 3 and pulls the Saints back within 1 at 29-28. Perfect time for Alex Schumacher to reintroduce himself.
Yeah, he didn't need to wait this night to wait for the second half to score.
Allie on the drive. Little floater off balance, able to get it to go. You see how athletic Zeke Allie is. He is such a good player. 5 points for him now. Expect him to score a whole lot more before this day is done. John Moore handles here, guarded by Terashima. Back across into the hands of Thompson. Wang now faces up, hands it off. Beautiful give and go. And what a pass from Wang. Put it in the perfect spot. Thompson able to take it the rest of the way, lays it up and in, back to a 1-point game. They try the same thing almost at the other end as Sam Roth tries to fit a pass through a tight window to Terashima, who was on his way to the rack.
Yeah,
it's kicked out of bounds. So it'll stay with the Nighthawks.
After that play, Goy Wang just pointed to his head, and that was a high IQ play. 2 players on him, feathered the pass right through. Great job by Wang.
Allie comes to get it, guarded by Velasquez. Saints still in this man-to-man. I'm kind of marveling at it because we've seen it so little. They're such a traditional zone team, but Aaron Landa did say at the outset of the season that we could expect to see a whole lot more man-to-man defense, particularly when Marquis Adams, in fact, pretty much exclusively when Marquis Adams is not on the floor. They will play zone whenever Marquis out there. Another tough off-balance shot for Allie. That one had no chance. And Velasquez quickly the other way. Gets into the paint. Finds Schumacher beneath the basket, of the Saints now with their first lead of the game at 32-31. What a play. It looked like Velasquez had nowhere to go. Last moment, sees Schumacher alone. The lead quickly evaporates as Terashima works his way to the rack, lays that one up and in. Back to the Nighthawks for the 1-point lead. Thompson on the drive, pulls up, kicks, Velasquez for 3. Back iron, Nelson the rebound. Love the pace of this game. Terashima. That was a feathery pass there up over the top. Nelson will try for 3 again. That one just does rattle out. And now Schumacher with his head up looks to steer it the other way.
Yeah, just
accelerates around the defender, gets into the paint. 9-footer won't fall. Terashima the rebound.
Yeah, that was Nelson's first miss, and, man, it looked good from here.
Terashima on the lob for Nelson, finds him on the weak side all alone, and Nelson knocks it down. 12 points already for James Nelson. This dude can really play. A quick timeout called by Aaron Landon. This is a 30-second timeout, so keep it here. 5:37 to play. Austin, this is a beautifully played basketball game so far. I'm having so much fun watching this.
Yeah, both teams playing like they didn't just face off against each other 24 hours ago. There's no fatigue on the floor at all.
I have a preposterous statistic for you. Both teams shooting identical 56% from the floor, same shot totals. Both teams 14 for 25 from the floor, 56% on either side. And you don't really see that very often.
Yeah, you don't want to be a defensive fan if you're watching this game right now. 56% on both sides, but no, I mean, really, hat off to these two teams. They're competing. They went for a full 40 minutes last night. So far through these first 15, neither side giving an inch. This is exactly what you want to see.
A little pressure in backcourt now from Northwest Nazarene. Saints able to break it. Here's Coddington beneath the basket. Takes his time, works his way around the defender, and banks it home. 35-34 our score. Man, we just go back and forth. Such great offense so far in this game. Here's Terashima on the drive. High off the glass, no good. Rebound Coddington, and back it comes. Saints with numbers. Schumacher to the corner. Velasquez pulls up from 17. That one too short, but tapped out by Schumacher into the hands of Thompson. No look pass to the corner for Schu. He'll fire for three. Got it! Huge three-pointer for Schumacher again. And the Saints regain the lead at 37-35. All set up on the tap out. Back to Tyke Thompson by Schumacher.
Well, one of the rare opportunities for the Saints on a second chance. NNU's kind of been gobbling up those opportunities. Saints get a big break, and then Schumacher. He is connecting from three this weekend.
Alley on the drive, able to muscle a shot up and in. Zeke Alley really starting to feel himself. We knew he would. He is an absolute stud. Came into last night's game averaging 18. Little off the pace last night, but he's really starting to warm up here in the first half of this one. Now it's Coddington on the drive. Bumped by Reedy. Gets it back to Thompson. 7 on the shot clock. Skip to the corner. Schu for three again. Looked like there was a lot of contact midair. No call. Shot bounds off. Really surprised that the whistle did not blow on that one. Nevertheless, back come the Nighthawks. Under 4 to play here in the first. Terashima here in front of us. Back for Rose. Jalen Fox accelerates into the paint, kicks to the corner, sets up Terashima for three. That one goes. Kobe Terashima with a wide open look at a three. Back to a 3-point lead for Northwest Nazarene. 3.5 to play.
Yeah, getting close to the point where NNU went on that run last night at the end of the first half, and here it is again, starting to get some momentum on their side.
Into the high post for Wang. Back for Velasquez. Long three from the Twin Star logo, and he knocks it down. We're tied again. Ty Velasquez with a deep three. Connecting from well past NBA range.
Helps to have a player like Ty Velasquez come off the bench and deliver shots like that.
Sort of a slow motion drive from Alley. Won't fall, but in the right spot again at the right time. This time Christian Rose knocks it home. Absorbs the contact and will head to the line for an and one. It will bring us to a stoppage and play beforehand. It will be Rose at the line once we return. Man, oh man, what a fun game we've had so far. 17 minutes in. I can't wait for the final 23 here on the GNAC Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. That I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
the Division II Conference Commissioners Association, and the Division II Athletic Directors Association, GNAC, Northwest Nazarene, and St. Martin's wish to recognize a very important part of today's game as part of the Division II Officials Appreciation Week. Often overlooked and underappreciated is the amount of time, effort, and dedication our officials give back to the support of the sport and our student athletes. Their commitment to safe and fair competitive contests is a critical part of the student-athlete experience. On behalf of everyone, we ask that you please show some appreciation for the officials, even though you can't be here with us tonight, an appreciation for the people who make this possible.
And thanks for that message, Austin. Absolutely. You can't play these games without the referees. Rose at the line. Able to knock it home. 43-40 our score, exactly 3 minutes left. More pressure in backcourt from Northwest Nazarene. Nearly forced a turnover. More comes to get it. And Coddington will clear the timeline with a pass over the top to Moore. Thinks about a pass inside. Now hands it off for DeMonte Malloy. He's sealed off, so the Saints reset. Interesting lineup on the floor for the Saints right now. A lot of first-year players in this program out there right now. Coddington bounces to the corner. Wang will try for three. No good, but he's fouled. Christian Rose had fouled the three-point shooter a moment ago. It was clear as anything, was not called for it. That foul looked a lot less egregious, and he is called for it.
Yeah, that's a break for the Saints, no doubt about it. Didn't look like too much of a foul for me, but, you know, free throws have been a crutch for the Saints this year. They really have not been able to capitalize on them, and case in point, first one off the front end of the rim.
By the way, we've got a question in the chat from Jeremiah asking how many points Shu has. He's at 8 right now in this contest. Of course, you can also pull up the live stats from the SMU Saints website for the game. You can have those open alongside your broadcast. But yeah, Jeremiah, right now Shu sitting on 8 points for St. Martin's.
Also, Jeff, I want to quickly point to what's happening in Nampa. It was a 20-point lead for the Nighthawks. It is now down to 7 with just 6.5 to go. Saints scored 27 points in the fourth quarter yesterday to win. They're currently outscoring the Nighthawks 15-8.
How about that? Heady drive right there from Zeke Alley, looking more to draw contact than anything, and he does exactly that. Big-time foul applied by DeMonte Malloy, his second, team's 9th, and it will send Zeke Alley to the line. He's got 7 so far in tonight's game. His first trip to the line.
Jeff, stop me if you've heard this one before as well. Claire Dingus, 26 points on the night.
25 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists for Claire in yesterday's game. Team highs in all 3 of those categories. Man, oh man, she is such a special player. So glad that she made the decision to come play for Saints women's head coach Christy Martin here at St. Martin's. She is so much fun to watch. One of the fiercest competitors I've ever seen in any sport at any level, men's or women's. She is just an absolute competitor.
Yeah, I'm excited to have him back on the court here in Marcus Pavilion next week.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that. Here's Goy Wang handling out here on the near side. Moore comes out to get it. Bluffs it a 3, now drives. Pulls up in the lane, goes glass, no good. Zeke Alley the rebound. Under 2 to play here in the first. Look at Zeke Alley on the drive, races all the way to the rack, lays it in. Back to a 5-point game. Look at the acceleration from Alley on that one.
Yeah, just that explosive step, and there he goes. Now he gets a steal.
Gets the play at the defensive end as well. Let's talk about that sequence for a moment. To go end to end in transition, lay it in. Now you're way behind the play because your momentum has carried you almost into the Saints bench behind the basket. Now he races all the way back to that corner. Not only knocks the ball away, but saves it inbounds to one of his teammates. That's one of the best sequences you'll ever see, offense and defense, by any player.
Yeah, he was knocked down, too. He was on the floor and had to get up and race down.
That's amazing.
That is hustle, and you got to love it. You got to love seeing
Absolutely. That's just good stuff.
That's
if you love good basketball, you can't help but be a fan of plays back-to-back like that within a matter of seconds.
You can tell he just loves basketball.
Mm-hmm. Fox is good on both free throws and lead now back to 7. And this is that danger zone that the Saints found themselves in last night. Remember, a 14-2 run for the Nighthawks to close things out before intermission. Schumacher thinks about stepping back for a 3. He's back on the floor. Now Malloy with it. I think DeMonte Malloy has attempted a shot yet in this game. He will right here. 3 on the way, leaves it short. Rebound, Schumacher able to save it in for Wang. Pump fake goes glass, lays it in. That's a good offensive sequence from the Saints that they badly need in order to keep Northwest Nazarene kind of at bay in these closing moments of the first half.
Yeah, now they're going to need the defense to step up. You can't allow the Nighthawks a good offensive possession here in the final minute.
Alley with it, picks up his dribble, reverses. Now it's Reedy for a corner 3. Leaves it way short, missed everything. Ball tapped out to Wang. He's on the run. No numbers at all, so he wisely backs it out. Saints can go 2 for 1 right here if they want. This is in fact a perfect 2-for-1 opportunity, but they'll have to figure it out quick. Got to go fast if you want the 2-for-1. It's quickly going away. Coddington to Wang, nearly travels. Backs out, picks it up, hands it off for more, gets to the rack, reverses up and under and lays it in. What a play from John Moore. Thought he was going to get caught in midair, somehow reverses underneath the basket and lays it in. Back to a 3-point game. Man, this has been a great half of basketball.
Yeah, but the Saints got to close it out here with a stop. Keep it within 3. You want to keep the momentum on your side going into that halftime.
Schumacher guards Fox. Now Alley with it, guarded by Coddington.
Yeah, ISO and get it to Alley.
Here's Alley. Steps back, hands it off. Nelson for 3, leaves it short. More the rebound, and that'll do it. What a half of basketball. Man, that was so much fun to watch. Electrifying hoops at either end for either side. 49-46, our halftime score. We will take an extended break, fans. We got to catch our breath. Wow, that was fun. I know I just said it like 19 times here in the last couple of seconds, but it was just so much fun. All right, it's halftime, folks. We will take that extended break, but please rejoin us in about 12 minutes or so for a look at first half stats and a look ahead to second half action. The halftime show here on the GNAC Digital Network will start in about 12 minutes.
Fans, don't miss out on February 12th and 13th, homecoming weekend on St. Martin's University. Even though we can't have you here on campus, the Saints have lined up plenty of virtual events, one of them being the induction of the 2021 St. Martin's Hall of Fame, Hall of Honor class. We'd like you to tune in about an hour before February 13th to catch those induction ceremonies virtually. But here is a sneak peek at what you will see on February 13th, an hour before the Saints tip off.
Well, welcome.
And welcome inside for the St. Martin's men's basketball halftime show. It's Jeff Lucero alongside Austin Burns. And, man, what a half of basketball we had. 20 minutes of absolutely superb basketball competition out on the Twin Star court. Let's quickly get you caught up on a couple of numbers. First for Nazarene, they had 2 players in double figures. James Nelson with 12 on 5 of 7 shooting, also a team-high 5 rebounds in that first half. Their only other double player in double figures, Zeke Alley, no surprise. He's got 11. He's also got 3 boards and 3 assists of his own. Those 3 assists a team high for the Nighthawks as well. 7 points apiece for Kobe Terashima and George Reedy. For the first half, they shoot 54.5% from the floor, 44% from deep, and 6 of 9 at the line. For the Saints, they shoot an even higher percentage, a 56% shooting performance for those Saints there in the first half. No one in double figures, but very balanced scoring across the board for St. Martin's. Tyke Thompson leads the way with 9 points, as does John Moore. So 9 points apiece for those two. 8 points apiece for Alex Schumacher. And Goy Wang, 7 more off the bench for Seth Coddington. Saints also shooting at 38% from 3, and they hit 2 of 3 free throws. One thing that we talked about was that the Saints needed to clean up the rebounding a little bit. They've done that. Northwest Nazarene +3 on the glass, 17-14. Such a well-played first half. Just 1 turnover for the Saints, just 4 for Northwest Nazarene. 5 total turnovers in the first half. Austin, here's one thing. Just a quick update. It's very unlikely we're going to see Marky Adams the rest of the way. It sounds like he's very doubtful to return with that. Looked like some sort of ankle sprain. Don't want to speculate too much, but at any rate, we're unlikely to see Marky Adams. What that also means is that we're also perhaps very unlikely to see the big man for Northwest Nazarene the rest of the way, Gabe Murphy. Fans, I don't know if you noticed or not, but Gabe Murphy, as soon as Marky Adams got injured and could not return, he was checked out of the game immediately and did not return either. So what it did was it opened up the floor for a whole lot of much quicker athletic players out on the floor. We had that up and down pace, but very interesting way this game might be played, with Adams very likely not returning, and we might just see very, very limited minutes for Gabe Murphy, if any at all, for Northwest Nazarene.
Yeah, you're taking out one of the best shot blockers in the GNAC and Marky Adams, but I like how the Saints are playing their man-to-man defense, and like you said earlier in the broadcast, when Adams isn't out on the floor, the Saints kind of maybe shift more into that man-to-man. And, you know, Northwest Nazarene shot the ball really well. Both sides did, absolutely. They shot the ball well. It's how do you make adjustments. And for me, you know, Ezekiel Alley, 4 of 10 shooting, 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. I think he's going to, you know, continue to shoot at that volume. And also, how does Schumacher and Thompson, you know, respond for the Saints? Some of the best scorers on the floor, but they need to do more here in the second half if they want to keep pace.
Nazarene controls. They get the ball first here to start the second half. Murphy on the floor, at least 4 now for the Nighthawks. We'll see if that trend continues. Corner 3, no good. Bounds out for Sam Roth. Saints the other way. Marky Adams once again out of the game. Replaced on the floor for the second half to start anyway by Seth Coddington, who turns it over here. He had it taken away. Here's Zeke Alley. Gets all the way to the rack. Another tough angled shot. Able to finish, though. Man, he's such a good player. That whole electrifying sequence was just one of the best things I've ever seen at just about any level of basketball. Thompson's 16-foot fadeaway right in front of us will not fall. Reedy kicks back up top for Terashima. Sealed off, now circles back up top into the hands of Alley. Roth now, cut off nicely by Thompson. Finds, what a pass. Wow, that was a beautiful pass. Sam Roth just slipped it right through 3 Saints defenders. And very quickly, the first 4 points of the second half scored by Northwest Nazarene.
Yeah, that was a great defensive possession for the Saints, but just a breakdown at the last second. And this half starting a lot like how it did last night, but, you know, this flip-flop, basically. And so Northwest Nazarene, they're feeling it. They're locked in right now, and they're starting to pull away. Saints are going to need some more good defense. Again, that was a good defensive possession, I thought. They cut off the quick cut to the basket at first. You know, they took away the dribble penetration. It was just a breakdown and wide open Alley.
Well, speaking of Alley, he scored the first 4 points here of the second half. He's now got a team-high 15 in this contest. Down low it comes to Gabe Murphy, still on the floor, but now he's checked by DeMonte Malloy, who replaces Coddington in the Saints lineup. Shot no good, and here comes Thompson. Over to Malloy. Crosses over, hands it back to Thompson. Nothing doing, now forced to back out.
Now I'd like to see the Saints kind of pass that ball a little earlier, rotate it around. You had Schumacher open for the three at one point.
Moore on the crossover, gets into the paint, runs into a wall of defenders, winds up coughing up the basketball. Back comes Terashima, hands it off for Alley. His three on the way is good. Zeke Alley with the first 7 points of the second half. He's got 18, right at his season average. And just like that, boy, it was the Saints who came out firing to start yesterday's game of the second half today. Well, flip the script, folks. It's Northwest Nazarene doing all the damage in the first 2 minutes and change of the second half. They all of a sudden have a 56-46 lead.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes, for all of us.
Well, yesterday it was the Saints who scored the first 9 points of the second half against Northwest Nazarene after absorbing a brutal 14-2 explosion from the Nighthawks to close the first half. It was the Saints doing a great job of making sure the Nighthawks didn't get carried away on another one of those big runs to close the first half. However, the Saints totally flat right out of the chute here in the first 2 minutes, and it's cost them Nighthawks with the first 7 points of the half.
Yeah, Nighthawks have played some great defense right in that last possession. John Moore drove into the lane, and he was met by not one, not two, but three Nighthawks players on three different sides. I mean, they swarmed them. And Northwest Nazarene, they are absolutely dialed in. I like how they're playing defensively, and then when you can keep handing the ball to one of the best scorers in the region, that helps too, and Alley's taken over.
He's got 18 points now. Remember, we said that it was going to be tough for the Saints to bottle him up 2 days in a row. Well, it's proved to be impossible, as he's already at his season average with still almost the entire second half to play. Schumacher looks off the defender, fires away from three at the top of the key. No good. Goy the offensive rebound, and Wang will do the rest. Saints on the board here in the second half at 56-48. Back to a single-digit game.
Yeah, that was not an easy rebound either for Goy Wang.
Terashima looks to the corner for Alley. Why not? Another three. That one nearly falls. Doesn't. Tyke Thompson the rebound, and here comes Schumacher. Hands it off for Thompson. Pulls up with the elbow extended. Gets it back to Moore. His three on the way. Good. John Moore buries a deep three from in front of head coach Aaron Land, and he's got to like that. And that cuts that 10-point lead in half back down to 5, 56-51.
Man, John Moore is just getting better and better each game, and now he's really becoming like probably that third scoring option, I feel like, for the Saints. Schumacher and Tyke at the top, but John Moore quickly becoming someone you're going to have to lock down on the defensive end.
Quick update from Nampa. We have a final score to report. Northwest Nazarene gets revenge after St. Martin's defeated them last night in the women's game. That game has gone final, 85-69 the final score. Northwest Nazarene taking down St. Martin's in women's basketball action. At this end, here's George Reedy. Just plants his feet. Defender does not step out on him or show him anything at all, so he's just like, why not? I'll bury a three right in your eye. He does exactly that. Back to an 8-point game. Goy Wang leaves it for Thompson. Moore comes to get it. Back into the hands of Thompson. Has it taken away by Roth. Into the hands of Terashima. No look pass beneath the basket into the hands of George Reedy. What a play from Kobe Terashima, the playmaker for this Nighthawks team. And just like that, back to a double-digit lead at 61-51. Schumacher comes to get it. Reversing it around to the perimeter here for just a sec. Malloy with it. Still yet to get himself involved in the offense. That's a fortunate call as Malloy just sort of barreled into the chest of George Reedy. George Reedy very much on the business end of that one. You do not want DeMonte Malloy. He is a thick dude. You don't want him running up over the top of you. That's what happens there. And it brings us to a stoppage in play. 61-51 hour score, about 16 minutes left here on the GNAC Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Well, we have a comment in our comment section on the YouTube broadcast. That comment is, Zeke Alley is a problem, and you are exactly correct. He is a huge problem for St. Martin's, especially here to start the second half. Such a phenomenal talent. This guy is so good at this game, and he is putting his full skill set on display so far in this one. So impressive to watch. I'm just so impressed with this guy's high basketball IQ, with his physical ability. He's so physical for a guy his size, but he's also such a great athlete and so fast. Boy Wang with a really beautiful spin move into the paint. Able to get that one to roll home. Marcus Linker now on the floor for the Saints. First time we've seen him today, as is Josh Camper for the first time this afternoon. So the Saints looking to mix things up, trying to light the appropriate spark to get this squad going. A couple of fresh faces in the lineup here. Crossing over is Reedy. Pulls up from the elbow, knocks it home. George Reedy continues to have an outstanding weekend. 23 points yesterday, piling up big numbers yet again today.
Yeah, not much the Saints could have done there. You know, that's a great defense by the Saints. And that'll be 3 free throws for Alex Schumacher. But again, I mean, Reedy's just, man, yeah, Reedy and Alley, you're going to be in every ball game you play with players like that.
At this end is Alex Schumacher. That's the second time Northwest Nazarene has fouled a three-point shooter. This time it's Reedy committing the foul. That's his second, team second. It will send Schumacher to the line, as for Austin said, 3 shots.
I mean, kind of doing a quick glance here with my math, and Alley, Reedy, and Nelson have combined for 44 points. Nearly right there, keeping up with the Saints alone. Just those 3.
That is a special trio of players, no doubt about it. What a luxury it is for Paul Rush to be able to point at a guy like James Nelson on his bench, send him in. He is just instant offense. He's a rugged, physical defender as well for this Nighthawks team. Saints have some dudes off their bench as well. And while they haven't put up big numbers yet this weekend, Ty Velasquez, DeMonte Malloy, both very capable of having explosive offensive nights as well. Camper guards the little used True Allen, who's back out there. And Alley, now a little mismatch on Wang, pulls up on him. Boy, Wang with a nice block shot. That was fantastic defense and actually winds up inducing a turnover. Alley travels in the paint. Turnover gives it back to St. Martin. So credit Goy Wang for, despite having the much quicker ball handler in front of him, does exactly that. Keeps him in front of him, blocks his shot, forces a turnover.
Yeah, one of the rare times Alley hasn't gotten to the rim when he wanted to. And nice job by Goy Wang, like you said, kept in front of him.
He's human after all. Here's Camper on the drive. Finds the cutter down the lane. It's John Moore, but instead he has it ripped away by Alley. He leaks out, gets to the rack. Schumacher fouls him. Hard foul. They have some words. Referees wisely get in there. Clear everyone to one side. It wasn't a super egregious foul. It was a hard foul. No doubt about it. But it was a clean foul. Nothing dirty there.
Yeah, you just have
too worked up about.
2 teams just full compete.
Oh, yeah. Just getting after it. Gotta love it.
You know, this is exactly what we saw last night as well. These two squads, you know, there's nothing more that they want than a W on the board here tonight. And, you know, Northwest Nazarene, like you said, they're closers. And here we go. We're starting to hit getting close to that stretch. And, you know, this is where Northwest Nazarene likes to take over games. And how are the Saints going to respond? I think you need to get the ball in the hands of Alex Schumacher and Tyke Thompson a little bit more, as Thompson not even on the floor, though, right now.
With those 2 free throws, Zeke Alley now with 20 points in this game, still 14 and a half yet to play. Camper clears the timeline, guarded there by Allen. Saints need to get some offense going. Where is it going to come from? Goy Wang attacks. Gets to the rack, lays it in, and he's fouled. Goy Wang is really putting himself together a nice little ball game here tonight, Austin. Goy Wang now in double figures. He has shot it well from the field. He's struggled a bit from beyond the arc. He is 0 for 3, but he's perfect inside the arc. 6 of 9 shooting on the night. He's got 14 points now to lead the Saints. He's 6 of 6 inside the arc, 0 for 3 outside it. Free throw won't go, but a foul will keep it at this end.
Yeah, Wang in the first 3 games, if I recall correctly, only had 1 or 2 points. He really didn't do much on the offensive end. He's really starting to find his rhythm, and it takes time to fit into a program. Goy Wang really starting to come alive for the Saints.
John Moore this time challenges everybody inside. His shot won't fall. He hits the deck, no whistle. Play resumes at the other end. Alley picks up his dribble. Now it's Nelson with it. Back to Alley. Drives, backs it out, fires from 17. No good. Weak side rebound. Alex Schumacher, he's fouled. Back-to-back fouls by Nelson. 2 very quick fouls. That one especially ill-advised.
Well, and just like in the first half, the Saints had 5 fouls on the board and then use 1. Now it's flipped here. So Saints are going to have an opportunity if they keep playing aggressive. They can use the free throws to close this gap.
Let's talk about that Goy Wang drive a moment ago. That was so spectacular. He did that with such ease, just getting to the basket. Fights through the contact as well. He has looked really, really good, and now he's got a team-high 14 points for the Saints. A sloppy possession, however, for the Saints this go-round. So a turnover for either side. Well, we play on. 65-57 our score, 13 and a half to play. Not a lot of starters on the floor right now for either team. Here's True Allen with it on the drive. Gets kind of a little bit too deep, but winds up drawing the foul on Camper. These are 2 guys that have not played a whole lot this season for their teams. True Allen gets the better of it there. Absorbs the contact. He'll head to the line.
And I think what you're seeing, both coaches kind of drawing up the same game plans. It's the second end of a doubleheader. You know, right around this time, you're trying to get some rest for some guys as you can go into that media timeout, and then I think you're going to see a lot of the starting 5 back on the floor for both sides. But this gives an opportunity for players, you know, to kind of be able to make their mark and get some opportunities. And so that is one of the nice things about playing back-to-back games, Jeff. You get to see a little bit more of the bench.
It's a very good point. Here's Moore at the elbow extended. Hands it off for Wang, gets it back. Marcus Linker a touch. Guarded by a much taller defender. Now Camper spins into the paint. His little mid-range floater will fall. Josh Camper into the scoring ledger for, I think, the first time in his St. Martin's basketball career. Could be wrong about that, and I probably am because I'm wrong about just about everything. As Alley misses from 3. Flat-footed rebound from Drew Farron. He's the tallest guy out there. Didn't have to get off the floor for it. Has it ripped away. No look pass inside for Schumacher. Gets it back. Now kicks to Moore. Tries for 3. That one bounds off. Goy Wang the long weak side rebound. Back to Camper. Spins into the paint again. Winds up. Is it a foul or a travel? Could have gone either way. It looks like it's going to be the 6th foul now on Northwest Nazarene. So, yeah, Austin, you said it a second ago. 12 and a half minutes to play. The Saints are going to be shooting free throws with every non-player control foul the rest of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be a great opportunity for the Saints to stop the clock and keep cutting into the lead. They haven't been one of the best free throw shooting teams by any means, but it's just another opportunity to find points on the board and get some guys going offensively.
Here's John Moore. Wants the challenge of Alley. Kick ball will keep it at the Saints end, so reset the shot clock back to 20. Nazarene has led most of this game. Their lead, however, has never gotten bigger than 10. It sits at 8 right now with 12:15 to play. Inbounds for Wang. challenges Sam Roth, but Roth gets the better of him there. A quick outlet. It's Alley on the run out. He will get to the rack, lay it up. But it falls off, and Wang is there to cover up for the Saints.
Well, John Moore did a great job just making Alley have to pause for a second, and Goy Wang runs into his own teammate's pass.
Oh, that might be called an intentional foul. We'll see here in a moment. John Moore very clearly came up behind, and it is. So count the basket for Alley. John Moore tried to come up, but all he did was wrap him up from behind, and you will get called for an intentional or flagrant foul every time. We saw the referee put both hands over his head. So 2 unmarked free throws once we return. That is a big, big swing. Go ahead and mark that one down, folks. It will be Zeke Alley at the free throw line. Again, count the basket, and 2 free throws upcoming on the other side of this break.
NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
So let's very quickly sort of reset the stage for you here. It will be Zeke Alley at the free throw line for 2 free throws all by his lonesome here in just a moment once action resumes on the floor. A very strange sequence just unfolded a moment ago, and I want to make sure everyone kind of caught that. John Moore was trying to set up Alex Schumacher across the wing for a wide open look at a 3. However, unfortunately for him, and he couldn't have known that Goy Wang was just running the floor trying to fill the lane right behind him. Moore rifles a pass intended for Schumacher, but Wang gets to just that spot at the right moment. It hits him right in the chest, goes straight up in the air. Alley gathers it, races back the other way. Let's just for a moment entertain the notion that if Goy's not there in that spot, that pass gets through, Schumacher hits the 3. Guess what? It's suddenly a 67-62 ball game, a 5-point game. Instead, because Wang happens to be in that spot, Alley catches it, races the other way, lays it up and in, draws the intentional foul. Now it's a 10-point game right now with a chance to extend their biggest lead at 12. What an unfortunate, preposterous break for the Saints.
Yeah, no one was incorrect there. Goy Wang just running down the floor, getting to his spot. Just unfortunate, wrong place at the wrong time for Goy. Well, for the Saints here now with 12 minutes left to go, you're going to have to dig deep, and you're going to have to get in the ball to your best scorers, and that's Schumacher and Tyke Thompson. And so they need to find a way to start making some shots because Northwest Nazarene right now doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon on their offense. It's running at full force. So, Alley's going to go to the bench, and this is where this is your best opportunity to get back into the game.
Well, I'm a little surprised at this. I didn't think that on a made basket and an intentional foul you actually got possession again, but I guess that is the case. So a chance at a 6-point possession or more for Northwest Nazarene. They kick to the corner, but all alone beneath the basket, raising for the two-handed punch is Drew Farron, set up on the beautiful entry feed from George Reedy, and it is a 6-point possession. That is a punishing sequence for the Saints. It could have been a 5-point game. Instead, it's a 14-point game. Look at Josh Camper pull up from the elbow, knocks home the mid-range 16-footer.
Yeah, it's a player that Aaron Landon and his staff really liked out of California. Again, freshman, so it's going to take him some time to develop into that Division II, but he's got a lot of upside.
Another lob inside, this time once again intended for Farron. Linker can't do much but just sort of back into him. Disrupts the shot, but it'll be Drew Farron heading to the line for a pair of foul shots. This is a very, very small lineup on the floor for St. Martin's. Thompson, Linker, Velasquez, Camper, and Schumacher.
Yeah, what you have to do if you're St. Martin's, is you can't play a traditional just post up behind on the low block. You're going to have to face guard, and you're going to have to get out in front. And what that means is you're in front of the low post player, and you might think, well, then you're just giving him the straight basket. It's an offensive rebound for the Nighthawks. But instead, it's actually you're relying on your help side defense to come back on the back end, and then you kind of sandwich the post player and take away those opportunities.
Another fine defensive play from Northwest Nazarene. This time it's True Allen anticipating the pass, able to deflect it back into backcourt to himself. Gathers it, races to the rack, lays it up and in. Josh Camper, who a moment ago had a sweet defensive play of his own, unable to connect, and back comes True Allen again. Beautiful move to the rack, Hill. Head to the line. He's unable to finish on the drive. Fouled by Ty Velasquez. And wow, Northwest Nazarene really starting to find themselves. They now lead it by their biggest of the game, 76-61, with 10:36 to play.
Yeah, they're starting to turn this game into exactly what they want, a track meet. Run up and down the court. They're an athletic team. They fly, and they're very heads up. They're not looking at the closest guy to them for a pass. They're looking, who's the furthest down the court that I can push and get this ball out, and so we can keep the pressure on the defense.
Well, that doesn't necessarily play into or away from, I should say, the Saints' strengths. As you pointed out in this broadcast many times that you love it when the Saints get out in transition. They're an athletic, quick team of them. They're on their own.
Absolutely.
They can actually keep pace in a game like this where you're just racing up and down the floor. Northwest Nazarene just very likely happens to be a little bit better at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And both teams are playing to their strengths. And now here's Camper once again, just a little bit off the mark. Shots have been good. Good looks for him, just not able to get those to land.
Terashima finds Farron again. Spins into a double team. Ball winds up on the floor. A couple of guys on the deck as well. Jump ball is the call. That will give it back to St. Martin's. So a defensive stand for the Saints, and boy, did they ever need it. Northwest Nazarene right now on pace to hit the century mark in this game. They're sitting at 76 points with over 10 minutes to play. Saints really need to get some stops and string some buckets together in a hurry. Now we'll see some pressure applied in backcourt again from Nazarene. They've showed it a few times here and there throughout the contest, just something to sort of mix things up, confuse the flow for the Saints. The Saints just haven't been in the flow for the past several possessions, and they certainly weren't there as there's some miscommunication between Wang back on the floor and Tyke Thompson. Quickly the other way this time, it's Terashima getting to the rack. His shot won't fall, but he's fouled. He'll head back to the line, and the foul's really starting to even out now. Both teams going to be in the bonus the rest of the way as the Saints just have drawn the last 5 foul calls in this one.
Jeff, I can't even remember the last time the Nighthawks let the shot clock even get to 20. I mean, they're just going straight at the rim. The moment the ball is in their hands, there is no denying them getting to the lane. They're going to drive right at you, and that's why these fouls are starting to rack up. The Saints they're not getting back as fast on defense. Legs are getting a little bit more tired, and they're not in the correct positions, and that's what's allowing the Nighthawks to just once again kind of start pulling away in this game.
Terashima no good on the first, but connects on the second. And a timeout called by Aaron Landon as his team now faces its largest deficit of the night. It's 77-61. This is a 30-second timeout. We'll keep it here. So Marky Adams is still out on the floor with his Saints teammates, but he is out of his basketball sneakers. We will not see Marky Adams again the rest of this night. He's wearing his flip-flops over there. So tough break for the Saints. And it's a testament to Northwest Nazarene that when they went away from their postman, as we saw Gabe Murphy on the floor for about the first 2.5 minutes here of the second half, he gives way to another player, and but what you saw was Paul Rush just able to slot a couple guys in, switch up what they want to do at the offensive end. They're just such a versatile, talented, deep team. They can beat you in a few different ways, and we're starting to see it here in the second half.
Yeah, it allows them to put guys like, when you can have Nelson, Reedy, and Alley all on the floor at once, you kind of look as a defense and go, well, how do we stop all 3 of them at once? And so, again, Northwest Nazarene able to be flexible, able to adjust to what the Saints are doing. And, credit Northwest Nazarene. They're a very well-coached team. They came ready to play today. Not by any means this game is over. Saints are going to need to start knocking down some buckets, though.
Saints with another ragged offensive possession. Forces Coddington into a deep in the shot clock three. It won't fall. And the struggles continue for St. Martin's. Terashima resets the stage. Everything sort of flattens out near the baseline. Now it's Allen on the drive. Good defense, both from Velasquez and Wang. Velasquez tries to save it beneath the Northwest Nazarene basket, but step on the baseline in the process. Still great defense from the Saints. 13 on the shot clock, and the ball will stay with the Nighthawks. Back on the floor is Jalen Fox. He'll trigger the inbounds. Flips the pass outside into the hands of Roth. Now it's Reedy with it on the far wing. Fox on the drive. Cut off by Linker. Gets it back. 2 seconds on the shot clock. They are able to launch one, but it misses everything. So there's a defensive stand that the Saints need right here, right now. Now they just need to find themselves once again on the offensive end of the floor, because it's just been tough sledding here in the second frame for this team.
Yeah, I think it's Tyke Thompson. I think you got to get him a shot.
Billy handles here. He'll pull up for three. It just does bound out. Had a great look at it. Just unlucky on the finish. Alley back on the floor, a little out of control. There's a three on the way, and they're counting it. Looks like the referee is saying the three should count. Well, now the referees are going to talk about it.
I think I think Alley went down on the floor. Coddington went to step over him to get to the ball handler, and he got tripped up on Alley, and it looked like that way, then it should have been a foul on Northwest Nazarene before the shot. I think that's what they're going to go look at.
They're going to take a look at the monitor and try to sort out whether that three will count. Right now, it's not up on the board. We did have one referee with both hands in the air. That indicates that the shot, he was counting the shot. But yeah, they're going to talk about this and get it sorted. We'll step away here for just a moment. Come right back, folks. We got a ton of basketball left to play between the Saints and the Nighthawks on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes, for all of us.
$77-61 score. It's Northwest Nazarene really kind of starting to build a ton of momentum and really feeling it. They're trying to salt this thing away and get themselves a two-game sweep. A big part of it, the Saints shot 56% in the first half. Austin, so far here in the second, they've got 15 points on just 35% shooting. Northwest Nazarene has really tightened things down at the defensive end, and meanwhile the Saints offense just has been kind of stuck in second gear. They just have not been able to get going here at all in the second frame.
Yeah, they're not connecting on their threes is what it really boils down to. 7 of 25, 1 of 9
just
here.
1 of 9 in the second half.
Yeah, and the threes were what kept them in when they were playing Portland State on Tuesday and Northwest Nazarene last night. Was they were able to connect on some big-time threes, and it really helps them to tie. Now, tonight, they're not falling at the same rate, and it's really struggling. They're great inside the paint. Overall, they're shooting 49%. You're not going to be upset about when you're hitting about half your shots. You're never going to be upset with that effort, but just the threes aren't there for them right now. And so, credit Northwest Nazarene. They have a, kind of a top-heavy scoring with Alley at 24, Reedy at 14, and Nelson at 12, and then it's kind of all spread out around there. So they got their big three, and then they kind of, like you said, Jeff, this is a team that they can move the ball. They can score from anywhere they want with anyone. And so.
And the depth of Northwest Nazarene really starting to wear on the Saints as well. Northwest Nazarene now with 31 points off the bench. 31 of those 77 off the bench. Just 16 bench points for the Saints. And if you think about it, that's just about the difference in this game. That's a 15-point advantage for Northwest Nazarene. They lead by 16, so the starters playing right about even. It's the bench for Northwest Nazarene that has made all the difference in this one.
Yeah, and it goes back to you're playing your second game in less than 24 hours. We tipped off at 6 o'clock last night, 3 o'clock today.
Yep.
That's a lot of fatigue, especially.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. These young dudes, they can get after it like that. That's no problem.
Oh, they weren't me. I woke
Us
up and
old
went,
dudes.
my knees,
that would be
my
hard
hip.
for playing like 3 minutes of one game would be difficult for someone my age. But for when you're 19, 20, 21, you can pull that off. That's no excuse.
Oh man,
But you're right,
I wish.
It's a tough, and it's one of the scheduling quirks for the GNAC this year. They're used to having the break between days. Remember, of course, that when you've got your travel partner, in St. Martin's case, it's Seattle Pacific, they travel over and play Billings on a Thursday, then turn around, get Friday off, and play in Nampa against the Nighthawks on a Saturday. So that Thursday-Saturday thing is something that is sort of wired into these guys. That's what they're used to, that sort of muscle memory kind of physical reaction. They're like, oh, well, now I have to play back-to-back games in less than 24 hours. That can, of course, take a toll, especially when you're not used to that at all.
Yeah, and another thing it affects is your scouting.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really make adjustments because you don't want to overload the guys on just, 5-6 hours in between. You're trying to let them rest. You don't want them, up watching film a ton. So, again, it really just boils down to, the athleticism and nice move inside there for Seth Coddington. But again, it's tough. Both teams figuring it out as we go on. Northwest Nazarene, very good squad, and there's a great move by Alley.
Wave off that basket for Zeke Alley. That foul happened well out on the floor. Fouled by Coddington. That was a great move from Coddington. That was, I guess, the play that Coach Aaron Landon drew up during that extended timeout while the referee sorted everything out. By the way, let's quickly bring you back to that moment. That three was waved off. It did not count. Remember, there was talk initially that maybe that three was to count. Referees, after reviewing the video, waved it off. So the score sat at 77-61 once we came out of that timeout. We should have cleared that up for you right off the bat. Anyway, as we return to things, here's Jalen Fox handling. We are now under 8 minutes to play. By the way, that last timeout became a media timeout, so the next dead ball will not be a media timeout. Here's Murphy back on the floor. Kind of alone beneath the basket, just picks up the trash and puts it in the can.
Yeah, I mean, Northwest Nazarene, man, do they do a great job on dominating the boards. A lot of size down low. We haven't even seen, their biggest and strongest guy. Now he's out there right now with Murphy, but he hasn't played too much tonight.
Coy skips it to the corner. Coddington cut off. Thompson with it, no look pass, sets up Velasquez for three. That one rims out, rebound again to Murphy.
Just hard break for the Saints. Great passing. Gets the open three.
Reedy spins a pass to the corner. Alley squares it up and knocks it down. And Northwest Nazarene starting to pour it on. They now lead by 19 with 7 to play.
Yeah, Alley you can't let him.
He's not tired at all. Let's say that. This dude came out raring to play. He did not take last night off by any stretch. It's just that the Saints did a fantastic job bottling him up for most of the game. But here he is out here playing like he's just as fresh as could be. Now, with a team high 27 in this game. In transition the other way, it's Reedy this time.
Yeah, and that was Alley. He pushed the tempo. His big man went down, and he didn't really care. He was just going to go all in on the basket.
Marcus Linker for three. So many shots have found the carom, and just the rim has just been so unkind to the Saints here in the second half. 21-point game. Northwest Nazarene really starting to impose its will. Reedy with it, guarded by Coddington, crosses him over, gets to the rack, uses the rim, lays it up and in. What a beautiful reverse drive from George Reedy. And Northwest Nazarene just having its way all of a sudden. I say all of a sudden, but really it's been this way for the entirety of the second half. Tyke Thompson, tough drive, no good, bothered by Murphy. Saints with an offensive rebound. They kick it out for Coddington. His three will not fall. And that effectively turns into a timeout for St. Martin's. So the Saints just look very out of sorts. They will bring Schumacher and John Moore back to the floor. For the five on the floor for the Saints: Marcus Linker, Ty Velasquez, Goy Wang, Alex Schumacher, and John Moore. The Saints are going to look to apply pressure here for the first time, I believe, that we've seen in this contest.
And Northwest Nazarene, they're averaging 77 points a game coming into tonight's contest, and the 90 helped last night. This is going to bump up their average again. This team is really starting to connect on the offensive end.
Alley for three. It falls out. Schumacher flies in for the rebound. Transition three, got it. Alex Schumacher just checked back into the game. And honestly, this is what the Saints need to do, is just competing for sure for the last 5 minutes and change of this game. Yes, the outcome likely decided, but Aaron Landon wants to see these guys give it everything they got for the last 5 minutes of this game. There's Marcus Linker getting after it on the defensive end. He rejects the shot of Reedy. Weaving his way through traffic as Velasquez asks for a foul call and gets it. As he tries to hand it off, he'll head to the line for a 1-and-1.
Marcus Linker right there. You talked about effort, and he put it on full display. He did everything.
And it's really what the Saints need to focus on more than anything right now. Are they going to win this game? Probably not. But do they want to keep fighting their guts out for the entirety and not give up? Absolutely.
Yeah, and talking with Aaron Landon this morning, he said that was something he was really impressed with his team, was how hard they fought last night. And it's going to carry over into tonight. He wants them to compete for a full 40, because even if the score isn't going your way right now, you still need to be able to finish games when you are ahead. And it's something that Northwest Nazarene does a really good job of. They're closers. They fight for a full 40. They're never going to take a minute off. It's something the Saints are learning and growing into, and this is a good opportunity right here. Compete
More
for the final
pressure in
five.
backcourt. Alley able to break it. Gets it ahead to Fox. Now Alley sets up Murphy beneath the basket. A little bit too easy for the Nighthawks. Sort of a secondary break. Off the made free throws from Ty Velasquez. Back to a 20-point game. Schumacher skips his way to the near wing. Now Velasquez on the drive. Shot off glass, won't fall. Murphy another rebound. Padding his rebounding stats here late in the second half. Wang commits a foul out on the left side wing, and that will send Nazarene to the line for a 1-and-1.
Up by 20, final five. A lot of teams kind of usually start slowing it down. Northwest Nazarene going, we're going to play our style of basketball. We like running up and down the court, and they're just imposing their will right now.
A couple of fresh bodies rotate back in for Nazarene. Drew Farron out there once again, as is Christian Rose. So they get a little longer, a little leaner, but probably no less meaner. That was dumb. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Here's Schumacher with it. I'm wearing down too after back-to-back days of play-by-play.
These guys got a tough job out there, but come on, think about the guys who have to stand up here on the second level.
No look pass to the corner sets up Linker for three. That too won't fall, and the outside shooting woes for the Saints just will not end. A near travel, and it is. Rose took about 4, maybe 5 steps even as he tried to work his way into the paint. And that turnover will bring us to another stoppage in play. 88-68 our score. Northwest Nazarene looking to put the finishing touches on this 2-game road sweep against St. Martin's when we return.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
And welcome back in for the final 3:55 of this game between a couple of GNAC foes. Now, keep in mind, there is no actual league this year per se. None of these games count in any sort of league standings. But remember, this whole season doesn't really count in a lot of ways because all these players granted an extra year of eligibility this pandemic-shortened season. Right now, the Saints, after adding those 2 games against Central Washington, which we'll talk about again here in just a moment, we want to make sure that all fans are aware that the Saints have added a couple of games toward the end of their season. This is not, as Austin mentioned earlier, the final home game for Saints men's basketball. We'll tell you more about that later, but point being that there's no conference, there's no league play. Everyone is just playing their schedule out. Saints 0-0 in league play, as are the Nighthawks.
Yeah, there is still a national tournament.
Yes.
And so there's only 6 teams. So the field got reduced. So instead of the normal 8 for each region, there's only going to be 6.
Yep.
And so the Nighthawks
playing for their
playing
regional seeding lives.
And going 8-1 to start the year, that's a pretty good start to getting into that regional.
Schumacher no good on the spinning drive. Linker tried to tip back. That wouldn't fall. And that's just how it's gone for the Saints here in the second half. That Sam Roth 3 won't fall. Rose, the offensive putback. That won't go down. Alley somehow able to gather it and lays it in as he falls out of bounds. It's just been that kind of night for Zeke Alley. Man, oh man, what a special player. Give him 29 on the night, and everything falling for him here in the second half as well.
It's just been fun to watch, Jeff. I mean,
yeah, no
he's
doubt
just
about
such
it.
a great scorer.
Can't help but appreciate that kind of talent. 3 for more won't fall. True Allen leaks out. Fouled from behind by Schumacher. He'll head to the line. So 90 points in these back-to-back games for Nazarene. And they're going to empty their bench. A couple of guys we've yet to see. And this is a special moment. Let's talk about this right now. Tim Tinclay is a local kid from North Thurston High School. He's an Olympia product checking onto the floor. I was really hoping we'd have a chance to call his name at some point across these 2 days. So this is a homecoming for Tim Tinclay. Welcome to Marcus Pavilion, Tim. You're playing some GNAC basketball here this afternoon, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, hey, got to give a shout-out to my high school alma mater, North Thurston. So
Go
always
Rams.
good to see a Ram out there
Over
on the
Casey
court.
Keller Drive.
There we go. And so, no, I mean, it's a bummer we can't have fans in the stands. You know, his
whole family
would
would
be
of
here.
course, be here. That whole section right there,
Yeah.
completely occupied by the Tim Tinclay fan club if we were able to have fans here inside Marcus Pavilion. I'm sure he's got family at home watching this game, so wish you could be here with us. But there's your boy, number 20, hawking Josh Camper right now. Shot clock winding down. Camper on the drive, bodied up by Tinclay. Gets it back. Shot off rim, no good. Rebound, Christian Rose. 2:10 to play, Northwest Nazarene with a game well in hand.
Yeah, I think this Nighthawks team, it's going to be a fun game to watch between them and Seattle Pacific. Those two can flat out score. You know, Seattle Pacific probably a better defensive team. But, wow, it's going to be a lot of fun. Too bad there isn't no GNAC tournament because I think those two would be squaring off for the GNAC title this year. They really are complete teams.
Terashima guarded by Linker. Gets into the air, kicks to the corner. 3 on the way for True Allen. It won't fall. Oh, nearly an offensive putback for Tim Tinclay. His teammates wanted it so bad, it would not fall. He defends Schumacher the other way. Schumacher goes right into his chest and lays it in. 90-70 our score with a minute and a half to play. I wonder if they'll run a play for Tim Tinclay. They might. They very well could. I think Terashima wants to set him up. He is the best playmaker here in the league. Back to Allen. They look inside instead for Drew Farron. 10 on the shot clock. Allen from the weak side for 3. Another offensive rebound for Tim Tinclay, and he's fouled. He'll head to the line with an opportunity to get into the scoring column.
I think they're actually going to call.
Timeout is called by Northwest Nazarene. That's what it is.
So
So
get
a
some more
30-second
substitutions.
timeout will keep it right here.
Yeah, more substitutions, but you know, always good to see some local product
Absolutely.
on the floor. Always fun because again, the GNAC, one of the widest spanning conferences in all of Division II. I believe it's actually the widest, and so you know, always a lot of talent from all over the country comes in to play in the GNAC. Always good to see the local product.
And we've also got a couple of kids playing in this game on opposite sides from Salem, Oregon, just like we had in the Seattle Pacific games last weekend. Of course, St. Martin's with Tyke Thompson hailing from Salem. Sam Roth is also a fellow product of Salem, Oregon. So those two probably have some history. Those guys probably quite familiar with one another's games, having grown up in the same town and probably squared off a number of times locally over the years.
Yeah, that I-5 corridor really just – it's becoming a hotbed for basketball, and you're seeing more and more national talent. Yeah.
On the drive, this is Brody Steinhardt fresh in the game. His shot won't fall. And we've got a whistle. We're going to sort this out. Looks like Schumacher may have caught Rose in the face with an elbow. And if that's the case, the referees are going to have to sort that out and determine whether there was some above the neck contact. And I'm all but certain that's what we're going to see. Type of thing you don't want to see with the game already pretty much decided and with very few seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, both teams have been competing hard all weekend, and I think, a little bit of frustration now boiling to the surface for the Saints. It
has been a very tough
hard
second half for St. Martin's. They've shot just 29% from the floor, just 2 of 16 from 3 here in the second frame. Remember the first half of this game? Let's just go back to the first half of this basketball game. Austin, we've talked a couple of times off air. It was just about a perfect half of basketball. So beautifully played by either team at both ends of the floor, particularly, of course, the offensive end. But they both took such good care of the ball. They both just shot the lights out. That was such a fun half of basketball to watch. These teams are already really finding their stride, if that first half of this game is any indication.
Yeah, there was no fatigue for sure. I mean, they came at each other. They were answering back and forth, and neither team really bursted out and got huge momentum by any means. It was kind of trading shots back and forth, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And then credit Northwest Nazarene, they took over the game in the second half, absolutely. And I think you're also feeling the Saints, that they're hurting without Marky Adams on the floor. That's really kind of taken a little, out of their defensive presence that they normally have. So, but again, this Northwest Nazarene team, they're a good squad, top to bottom. They got a lot of players on the bench who can contribute. It's it's long 2 days of basketball, but it's been 2 good basketball games until really just down the stretch here with Northwest Nazarene pulling away.
And while we've got a little bit of extra airtime to fill while the referees still review what happened beneath the basket a few moments ago, let's talk again about that stretch of basketball we saw from the Saints yesterday. So 3 years ago, 4 years ago-ish, whenever it was when I very first started calling games for the Saints, which was halfway through the season 4 seasons ago, there was a game against Western Oregon in which head coach at the time, Alex Pribble, pulled the starters off, put 5 guys off the bench into the game. They played really well, and it turned their entire season around, completely turned it around. It was a flashpoint for St. Martin's basketball, who then just caught fire the rest of the way, played so well down the stretch, and then parlayed that into the most successful season, bar none, in St. Martin's men's basketball history when they finished with 26 wins 2 seasons ago in what turned out to be the swan song for Alex Pribble before he moved on from the program. What we saw last night for the first 11 minutes of this half reminded me a little bit of that. It was a different set of circumstances altogether, but it was the kind of thing where a head coach who's trying to implant his culture and his will into the minds of his players. That's exactly what we saw from Aaron Landon. I'm not saying that that's going to turn around the fortunes of the whole program, but what happened yesterday with the way his guys responded, Aaron Landon, just laid into them after giving up that 14-2 run. To have them turn around and play so brilliantly for the first 11 minutes yesterday, that's the kind of thing that really starts to build and imbue the culture that Aaron Landon wants to build with this program.
Yeah, Rome wasn't built in a night. I mean, it takes time to build up a program. And you talk about what Aaron Landon inherited, a team that basically lost everyone from that national tournament run. And then you have to, kind of come in late into the recruiting cycle and kind of get some guys. That's why you saw a lot of his players from South Puget Sound Community College followed him. And then, then COVID happens, and that kind of puts a lot of whole things, out of order. And so, Aaron Landon, it's not the ideal start by any means, but, he's really building that culture and setting a tone for what St. Martin's basketball is going to be. And so, I really like the improvements the Saints have made from last year to this year. They're playing with a lot of heart. The defense looks better. The offense, has flashes. It hasn't put it together for a full 40 minutes yet, in my opinion, but they have flashes where they look like this team could be one of the better offensive teams in the GNAC. And so, credit to Aaron Landon and staff. It's a lot of hard work what they're having to do, and the guys are really, I think they're rallying around it. And, eventually, though, you do need a W on the board. You need to see some return on investment for them, and they gotta get a win up there.
So it was an intentional foul called on Alex Schumacher. A little bit of contact above the shoulders. Hence these two unmarked free throws from Christian Rose. Able to connect on both. Let's talk real quick again about the second half performance of Alex Schumacher yesterday. I have a challenge for you, my man. He had a 29-point second half performance. I need you to dig as deep as you can anyway into the St. Martin's basketball archives and come up. Was that the greatest one-half performance in the history of St. Martin's basketball? That's my challenge to you. Go find me another performance where a guy scored 29 points in a single half of basketball. I'm going to give
that's
you.
a fun challenge.
I'll give you until next weekend to get that one sorted out.
Okay, yeah.
You up for it?
Oh,
challenge
absolutely.
accepted.
You mean I get to dig through the archives and look at numbers? That's my dream job right there. That's why I do what I do.
All right. Challenge accepted. Rose with it. Kicks it outside for Drew Farron. New player on board. It's Ethan McPherson trying for a long three. That one bangs off the backboard into the hands of John Moore. Schumacher with it. Moore the jab step, now drives. Schumacher looks to challenge Tinclay. Instead gives it off to Goy Wang. 15 on the shot clock for Marcus Linker.
The ball really hasn't even gotten inside the three-point arc yet on this possession.
Moore picks up his dribble. Camper with it now. Little floater in the lane. It will roll home and likely decide the outcome of this game unless McPherson wants to trigger a final shot. Shot clock is, of course, off. Here's McPherson on the drive. Does get to the rack, lays it in. And that'll do it. The Saints won't run it back, as it were. 94-72 is our final outcome here this afternoon. Tough win for the Saints, particularly given how good they looked through the first 20 minutes of this ball game. Give us just a moment, folks. The St. Martin's men's basketball postgame show is coming up on the other side of this break.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Well, fans, for the first 20 minutes of this game, we had just about everything we possibly could have asked for. Our score at the halftime break stood at 49-46. Northwest Nazarene with a 3-point advantage, but in the second half, they simply did not let up while the Saints just could never get it going. They were stuck in second gear for basically the balance of the second half. Outscored 45-26 in the second frame. Northwest Nazarene coming out of Marcus Pavilion today with a rather convincing 94-72 victory. Let's quickly bring a few stats your way. For Northwest Nazarene, they wind up shooting 51.5% from the floor, 34 of 66. That's a very efficient shooting percentage, of course. 10 of 29 from three, 61% at the line. Three players wind up in double figures, led by all-everything guard Zeke Alley, 29 points in today's game, 10 of 21 from the floor. He also had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals. Zeke Alley doing everything right for Northwest Nazarene here today. Again, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. What a stat line that is. The other 2 guys in double figures, George Reedy, another sparkling performance, 18 points on 8 of 11 shooting in 30 minutes of action. James Nelson, 12 points on 5 of 7 shooting, also a team-high 7 rebounds, along with teammate Drew Farron. Northwest Nazarene was plus 16 on the glass yesterday. A decided advantage once again today, 44-33. That's a tough number for head coach Aaron Landon for the Saints, who did play the second half without their leading rebounder, Marky Adams, who was injured about halfway through the first half and was never able to return. For the Saints, they wind up shooting 44% from the game, but remember, they shot 56% in the first half, just 31% in the second half. For the game, they shoot 8 of 32 from 3, but again, the second half really did them in. 2 for 16 from beyond the arc in the second frame. 3 players as well for them in double figures, led by Alex Schumacher with 15. Goi Wang with his best game as a Saint, at least statistically anyway, 14.7 rebounds for Wang as well. John Moore, the only other Saint in double figures, he finishes the night with 12 points of his own. 9 points apiece for Tyke Thompson and Seth Coddington, half a dozen as well for Josh Camper in some of his first extended, meaningful action in a Saints uniform. Very happy to see Josh Camper look to dial up his own number. He wound up taking 7 shots in just 10 minutes of time on the floor. But you know what? I'm totally fine with that. Josh Camper, get out there and make it happen. When you have your opportunities, shoot your shot. Literally, shoot your shot. So, obviously, a tough way to close things out here in this second game. But here's the good news. We'll talk about this game a little bit more, but real quick before fans start to drop off, while you're still out there with us, keep in mind, this was not all of a sudden, this is no longer the final Saints home game here from Marcus Pavilion. We will get to bring you one more broadcast at the end of February. The news once again breaking today, coming out of the GNAC, Central Washington is reactivating their basketball program. They will be playing St. Martin's in a weekend home and home. They'll be in Ellensburg, I believe, Austin, you said Friday, February 26th. They'll turn around, make the trip back over to Lacey, and play again Saturday on the 27th. So that's great, great news for Saints fans. We'll get one more game here and a couple more games on the schedule. So good to see Central Washington reactivating their basketball program.
Yeah, this year, Jeff, I've been calling it the wild, wild west of scheduling. I mean, you've seen even some teams schedule games on Twitter. It's been
how about that?
It's been wild, and so always great to see another team in the GNAC get up and running. We'll be able to play, and so it's going to be a lot of fun to be able to get the Wildcats in here at the end of February. And like you said, I'm just glad this wasn't the last game for the Saints. We only got to see 4 games, and it feels weird to be going, well, we're halfway through the season, and but we'll take what we can here in this COVID season. So, for St. Martin's fans, there's a lot to look forward to. Like you said, Josh Camper got some good minutes. Goi Wang played really well tonight, in my opinion.
Goi Wang also played 35 minutes tonight, too. He was on the floor for much of tonight's game.
Absolutely. And Schumacher, a very quiet 15 points, in my opinion, but 7 rebounds in 32 minutes. He played well. Just Northwest Nazarene was just the better team tonight. But there were still a lot of bright spots for St. Martin's, in my opinion.
And another quick shout-out as well for Tim Tinkley and his family, probably, hopefully, anyway, presumably watching from home tonight. Really good to see a local product make his way onto the floor tonight. Really happy that Paul Rush was able to set aside some time for Tinkley to get into the game tonight. He's a little-used player on this team, but the local product was on the floor tonight, had a couple of rebounds. He mixed it up a little bit. Certainly always great whenever a hometown kid gets to come back here and play inside Marcus Pavilion. Looking ahead, the Saints are going to be on the road for a little while. Remember, this would have been their last home game, but as it is, the season, at least the home season anyway, extends out another month. We got women's basketball action next weekend, and the women's team who've yet to actually play a home game here inside Marcus Pavilion, but they will be back at it here this weekend. Who's their opponent next Friday and Saturday?
And they'll be taking on Seattle Pacific, and fans, that we were supposed to see the women's basketball team here about 2 weeks ago. Yep. And we're gearing up for the first home game. We're all pumped up, and there was no power in Marcus Pavilion, and that was a whole scramble. The Seattle Pacific, hat off to them. Their staff was able to get a game in at their place on short notice. That's not easy to do. So we played up there back-to-back nights. So then they returned the favor by coming down here. So Thursday and Friday, we'll see the women's basketball team for the first time in 2021. So we were looking like almost January was going to be all men. February we're going to be all women's home games. Now we get that men's game at the end. So, but it'll be exciting to see Christy Martin and her team back on the floor here. Coming off of a huge win yesterday, the first win at Northwest Nazarene since 2005.
My goodness.
And so that's Saints. Not an easy place to win.
No. As evidenced by today's final.
Yes, and Northwest Nazarene, a very good squad as well. So it'll be really exciting to see the Saints come back home and get to play on their home court for the first time.
One thing I'd like to point out, and it's a feature of the post-game show that I really wish we could have done this year, and I totally understand why we can't do it. Unfortunately, and for the folks that have been tuning in, you've noticed that we have not been able to have Coach Landon on for the broadcast for a post-game interview so far. But we've been able to chat with him. Of course, Austin, as someone who works full-time in the athletic department, you're around Coach Landon on a pretty regular basis. You're able to kind of pick his brain here and there and get his thoughts on games and scouts and everything else. I really wish fans, I just wanted to make sure that we pointed out to you that it's just something that we're not able to do because of the COVID restrictions in place, very wisely so, of course, by the NCAA. So we're mandated to keep the coaches away from us and the broadcast. But so if anyone was wondering why we've not been able to talk to head coach Aaron Landon post-game, there you have it. That's why. And before we sign off today, I'm going to give you a very big shout out here because for everyone who doesn't know, Austin is up here also handling the social media accounts during timeout. So he's over here tweeting and putting stuff on Facebook. He's doing it all. Austin is an absolute renaissance man. He's a wizard. He's a sorcerer up here, putting it all together. He's producing the broadcast. He's doing social media. He's throwing his commentary into the broadcast as well. This dude right here is putting it all on the line every single time we lace him up for the broadcast, so to speak. So I want to give you a shout out, my man. You do such tremendous work on this broadcast every single time that we get to hit the air. So thank you so much for everything you do, buddy.
Thank you, Jeff. And how I see it is I get to wake up and go watch basketball, and I get to make a living off of it. So hey, I'm not going to complain ever. I think I have the best job in the world.
Well, it was the Zeke Alley show inside Marcus Pavilion, something we didn't see yesterday because the Saints did such a good job of bottling him up for pretty much the entire game. But, boy, did he break out in a big way, showing no signs at all of any sort of lag with very little turnaround time between these games. Again, just an absolutely sparkling performance. Our hats off to Zeke Alley and this Northwest Nazarene program. What a day. 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. And he leads his team to this 94-72 victory. That's going to do it for us here on this broadcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for hanging out on the chat with us as well. On behalf of Austin Burns and everyone here within the St. Martin's Athletic Department, this is Jeff Lucero signing off. We'll see you next time on the GNAC Digital Network. Good night.